This is the Catholic German owner of a plantation in Mexico in 1936. We see him sitting on a hilltop with his Mexican wife, contemplating his hacienda. Armed with a pistol, this kind of no-nonsense, self-made man was certainly romanticized back in mainland Germany. Today, we'll see how Deutschmexikaner lived in Mexico and how this plantation was organized. Then we'll talk about the unique history of these settlers. We'll finish up by taking a look at some related and wonderfully alarmist American World War II propaganda. If you like the way we piece together such primary source materials, please remember to subscribe to this channel. You won't be disappointed. This 1936 film is called On a German Hacienda in Mexico and has a runtime of 15 minutes and 51 seconds. The idea of a German settlement in Mexico really isn't as strange as it sounds. Those of German descent were known as Deutschmexikaner, and many arrived during the liberal policies of the mid to late 1900s, with the majority settling around Mexico City. In 1833, the German botanist Carlos Sartorius founded a settlement known as the Hacienda, which attracted more than 200 settlers from Darmstadt. Most were farmers and skilled craftsmen, for example, carpenters, locksmiths, or shoemakers. But this would be the exception rather than the rule. After this influx, the majority of German immigrants would be entrepreneurs looking for opportunity, industrial managers, and leaders in commercial sectors. Their businesses were often successful, and they quickly became part of upper Mexican society. This successful plantation owner was able to afford a private car, which at this time in Mexico was still considered a luxury. His successful business venture focused on the raising of cattle and the cultivation of coffee. German was considered the language of business, and they sent their children to special private schools where German would be spoken and taught. They learned about European history and current events, and certainly were kept up to date regarding the National Socialist Revolution that had swept through Germany. The sign on the left says Deutsche Schule, German school. The one on the right says the same in Spanish, Colegio Alemán. Since Mexico was a Catholic country, Roman Catholic Germans predominantly came to Mexico. Migrant Lutherans tended to go to America. In addition to religious similarities, due to a general lack of German women, the businessmen married Mexicans, which quickly advanced cultural assimilation. In contrast, the American migrants tended to stay to their own and were less willing to assimilate. But as we've seen, the settlers didn't go totally native. The Germans created their own clubs and societies to keep ties to their native heritage. Now let's take a look at the Mexican laborers and the type of work that they were doing on the plantation. As we watch this, I'll continue with the migrants' history. During the Mexican-American War from 1846 to 48, the German immigrants supported the Mexican side, and when the war was lost, those that had been living north of the new border moved south to Mexico. They didn't actively participate in the war, but their choice of allegiance did not go unnoticed by the Americans. In 1917, at the height of World War I, the German Foreign Office sent the secret so-called Zimmermann telegram to the Mexican government proposing a German-Mexican military alliance and promising the return of the lost lands from the Mexican-American War, namely Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico. It stated that the Germans intended to begin unrestricted submarine warfare against the Americans in February, and that the two countries should declare war on America at the same time. It also promised direct German economic support to the Mexicans. The British intercepted the telegram, deciphered it, and then made its contents public, which had a material effect on getting America to declare war on Germany and add badly needed fresh troops to help hold the Western Front. Although this diplomatic effort had caused much more damage than it had achieved, relations between Germany and Mexico remained constructive. Even under intense pressure from Washington, Mexico remained neutral and refused to take part in the embargo against Germany. German nationals with business interests in Mexico were also protected by the Mexican government. With the American build-up to entering World War II, the unfounded fear of the southern neighbor throwing in with the Germans again made its way into some propaganda. In this early 1941 pamphlet, created by the artist Adrian Lopez, the cover title is "Blitzkrieg over America. When will Hitler invade the USA?" There's a wonderful illustration of a German paratrooper jumping out of a plane over New York. The pamphlet goes into depth explaining the elements that make up the modern German Blitzkrieg tactic and gives vivid examples of what that might look like in a North American campaign. It also warns of the danger of ethnic Germans and an already present fifth column of traitors and collaborationists that would help the enemy, for example, the fascist German Amerika-Bund. Let me know in the comments section below if you'd like me to do a video on that organization. This page in the pamphlet shows a member of a mariachi band giving directions to a German soldier and states that such an attack would most likely begin in Mexico and would only take a total of 48 hours to be successfully completed. Under the photograph at the bottom it says, "Parachute troops would find plenty of unprotected open spaces in America for surprise landing of their troops." Here is the infamous Zimmer telegram from World War I. Thanks for watching.